How to live a simple life and be happy. A question that is sometimes and can be hard to answer. My name is Chris Richardson. I'm a coach here at Life on Your Terms, and we make videos here so you can do exactly that. You can live a life on your terms. How to live a simple life and be happy. I have 3 things to talk about related to that today. And again, this is entirely my opinion related to that. Sometimes how you see simple life and being happy can be entirely different from what I see, but this is just my experience and how it's helpful to define that process. So our first step is to stabilize. Second step is to visualize, and then our third step is to strategize and execute, and I will define each of those along the way. So first, stabilization. What is key is to realize that the question of how to live a simple life and be happy is entirely up to you to define. What does simple look like to you? Because your simple could be entirely different from someone else's. Same with your happy. Someone else's happy may be having 8 kids and really focusing on their future, whereas someone else's position of happiness could be no kids, just focusing on their career. And it's entirely up for you to define. Whatever you choose is okay, but it's important to define those, because if you start comparing someone else's simple and happy, you're gonna run into a lot of trouble. So you need to define it, and maybe you're struggling to define it. And that's why I would encourage you to take the balance wheel in the description below. That looks at all areas of your life: professional, relationships, health, and resources. And from there, you can kind of see the changes you want to make your life simpler and happier. And I don't necessarily like the term happiness. The way I like to think about it, and this is just my opinion, is am I making the most of my life? That's how I see happiness. If I'm making the most of it, then I'm in a state of happiness. So that's how I think about it. And so my experience with a simple and happy life is for me to live within my means. That makes my life simple and not stress-free, but I think you start to get into trouble when you start to live above your means, because you have to stress a little bit more financially. If you always live below your means, you're relatively going to be okay. That's what I found. With also that, I have found that driving after one thing, and for me, it's helping make an impact on others by allowing them to live a life on their terms. And that's why I'm a coach here, is because I really want to empower people. And that's what I'm driving towards. And so that's my simple and happy life. And then also having some really meaningful relationships with my spouse, my family, and friends. And a few friends, really. That's simple for me and what makes me happy. So your simple and happy may be entirely different than mine, but that's how I see it. And that's how I've stabilized and defined this question, if you will. So the next step, I believe, in this process is to visualize. And what I mean by that is, what do you want in or out of your life? It kind of relates to defining what that looks like, but actually think about and create a clear picture of what does simple and happy look like to you in a year. I like to rephrase it as, what does amazing look like a year from now? And an easy way to think about categories you could think of amazing like is to go around the balance wheel and look at each subsection and create one visualization related to what does amazing look like in this area a year from now. I find that to be very helpful as well in this process to achieve a simple and happy life. And visualizing the exact success you want to have helps you get to your goals and have a good metric of, did I get there or not? So that can be very helpful to have, and at least something to drive towards. And I think the final step in this process to create this life that you want is to strategize and execute. Now, what do I mean by strategizing and execute? First, you need to define what habits or behaviors do you need to adopt so that you can have this simple and happy life. It's not gonna happen at the snap of a finger. You're not just gonna snap your fingers and you're gonna be simple and have a happy life. There's gonna be some things that you need to get in order so that you can empower yourself to live this life that you do wanna live. So I like to ask the question, what barriers will stop me along the way? And you can ask that same question for yourself related to this. What barriers will stop me from having a simple and a happy life? And I would encourage you to think about what habits are going to stop me from that. What relationships are going to stop me from that? What jobs are going to stop me from that? And then you can reverse engineer those things from what's going to stop you into what things are going to empower you to have that life. And once you start to do that, you get a really clear idea of the path to get there. And one way to hold yourself accountable that I like to use is quarterly objectives and yearly goals. It seems simple, but setting process-based quarterly objectives can help you stay more accountable. And I always like to employ the 4 ITs of goal setting. Those being say it out loud, write it down, date it, and then send it or share it with someone. Those 4 ITs will help you keep you more accountable. So say it out loud, write it down, put a date on it, and then share it with someone. That's just going to increase your accountability. At least that's what I found in my experience. So those can be very helpful and keep you on track so that you can have an amazing life that you've set out to have in your visualization stage. And at the end of the day, what's most important to having a simple and happy life is consistency towards the goal. Like I said, it's not going to happen at the snap of the fingers, but step by step, you'll get there and you'll be happy where you end up.